Indian American community, a small community with an outsized impact. We constitute about 1 to 1.5% of the American population, and we contribute between 5 to 6% of its tax base, especially 5% of it in Fortune 500 companies' wealth alone. A lot of stuff that has been going for the Indian Americans, and this has perhaps become like a lightning rod for others to take pot shots at you in the form of Hindu phobia or hate against anything to do with caste, all sorts of stuff being bandied about. All that stuff is reflection of their success in Wall Street. But in Main Street, how does India do? And here we are going to take a look at the various contributions that Indian Americans have done towards the American economy and the world in general. Here we go. Indian American diaspora, a small community with an outsized impact. I told you about the numbers, that should give you an idea. As of 2023, the Indian American population reached 5 million, which would be about 1.5%, and it's a 50% increase since 2010 because Y2K, there were a lot of people who came in. I guess many of them also became citizens in due course of time. The young Indian American demographic is young, highly educated, and high income, evenly divided between first generation immigrants and US born citizens of Indian origin. The first emigration from India to United States started in the late 60s when United States relaxed the rule of allowing not just Caucasians but others also into the country. The first set were usually doctors. They came mostly from Andhra Pradesh, and then after that, of course, many other states started contributing to India, sending its people abroad to settle in the United States. The Indiaspora report serves as the first quantitative study to measure the Indian American diaspora's impact across various sectors. That's what we are going to be talking about. We have a bunch of reference links that you can refer for the original stories. What we have done here is to summarize all these different stories and how the specific contributions of Indian Americans has been in various sectors. This report employs a data-backed methodology and is supported by a steering committee of leaders, scholars, and policymakers. The diaspora's philosophy is encapsulated in the belief every town is my town and all the people in the world are my kin, something similar to Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. Indian diaspora is concentrated in 5 states: California, Texas, New Jersey, New York, and Illinois. These are where the big numbers are. Of course, I think California comfortably leads now, although one can say that even New Jersey has a fairly big number. Let's take a look at the economic contributions. 16 Indian origin CEOs, constituting roughly 3% of the total, lead Fortune 500 companies. Actually, a notable exception, non-mentioned here, is Sanjay Mehrotra, my good friend, who used to be the CEO at SanDisk, and now he's leading Micron, and it's taking Micron to new heights. These companies generate $978 billion in annual revenue, employ 2.7 million Americans. The notable ones are Sundar Pichai of Google, Satya Nadella of Microsoft, Reshma Keval-Ramani of Vertex. I can go on. There are many, many. I mean, 1 in 3 entrepreneurs who have made it in the Silicon Valley are of Indian American origin. So that tells you how many are there. In the course of this slide deck presentation, you'll see many entrepreneurs who have gone on to become successful venture capitalists also. Like, for example, the 2 names mentioned here, Vinod Khosla of Khosla Ventures and 𝗏𝗏𝗡𝗙 of Inventus Capital. If I remember correctly, Vinod made his money in Sun Microsystems. I think 𝗏𝗏𝗡𝗙 made it in one of the startup companies that, I think, Novell Netware, if I remember correctly. I could be wrong though. These are all like 20, 30 years ago. And I think 𝗏𝗏𝗡𝗙 and Vinod Khosla, I think they were also involved in starting the thing called Tycon, which has now gotten a big presence in Silicon Valley. They have these annual gatherings where they discuss technology, directions, and so on and so forth. These unicorns started by the VCs account for 11% of all unicorn startups. Economic contributions. India is the leading country of origin for immigrant-founded unicorns in the US in the last 5 years. Out of 648 unicorns, the first-gen immigrations have founded 358, 55%. I thought it was 1 in 3. It's actually more than that. Unicorns in the US between 2018 to 2023. A unicorn is a single idea startup. You can see the jump here from 91 to 648 by the way of bar graph. Among these 358 unicorns, 72, that is 1 in 5, have Indian migrants as founders or co-founders, with $195 billion as valuation and about 55,000 employees. Other economic contributions are Indian companies have invested over 40 billion in the United States, spanning the information technology, pharmaceutical, and manufacturing sectors. Companies like Tata, Infosys, and Wipro are key players. Indian American median household income is $120,000 plus, bolstering state and federal tax revenues. Scientific and innovation contributions. In 2023, Indian origin scientists secured 11% of National Institutes of Health grants, NIH, contributed to 13% of US scientific publications in critical fields such as immunotherapy and nanotechnology. Indian Americans represent over 10% of US patents and 10% of US physicians. Some of the notable names here: Naveen Varadarajan, a pioneer in cancer immunotherapy, and Subra Suresh, former NSF director and holder of biomedical device patents, are leading Indian American innovators. Approximately 22,000 Indian origin professors teach at US colleges, with notable leaders including Neeli Bendapudi, president of Penn State, and Arun Majumdar, dean of Stanford Dover School of Sustainability. Cultural integration and influence. Indian Americans own 60% of US hotels. The phrase Patel Motel is very popular in United States, generating close to 700 billion in revenue. Celebrity chefs like Vikas Khanna and Manish Chauhan have popularized Indian cuisine, while acclaimed restaurants such as Adda, Dhamaka, and Sema showcase regional flavors. I have not been to any of these. I don't even know where they ply their trade. Cultural integration and influence. Deepak Chopra popularized Ayurveda in the US, while yoga, introduced by Swami Vivekanand, is practiced by approximately 10% of Americans, with over 36,000 studios operating by 2023. Cultural integration and influence. Festivals like Diwali and Holi now have statewide recognition in many states, including like Pennsylvania. There are lots of states, Georgia, I think, and many other. Media influencers include Mindy Kaling, Hassan Minaj, Rupi Kaur, amplify Indian American stories. There are others also. Civic and political engagement. Kamala Harris, Raja Krishnamurthy, Ro Khanna, and Pramila Jayapal are prominent Indian American elected officials with a growing presence in state legislatures and city councils. It left out Sri Thanedar. Key Indian American figures, including Neera Tanden in the White House and Vivek Murthy as US Surgeon General, significantly influence public health, diplomacy, and domestic policy. Organizations such as Indiaspora, AAHOA, and Hindu American Foundation actively mobilize Indian American civic engagement, enhance voter turnout, and strengthen US-India bilateral relations. As far as philanthropy and social impact are concerned, Indian American philanthropists generously contribute to both US and Indian charitable causes. Examples are Ramesh Wadhwani, AI and Education, Vinod Khosla, Healthcare. The Indian Americans establish cultural and educational institutions such as temples, gurudwaras, and community centers. Motwani Family Academy supports hospitality and mentorship initiatives. The Indian American diaspora fosters global outreach through partnerships with NGOs like Pratham USA for education and Ekal Vidyalaya for rural development. Diplomatic and bilateral influence. Indian Americans serve as connectors between India and US, fostering ties through diplomacy, business, and media. Indian Americans advocate for stronger India-US ties in tech, pharma, defense, and education, supporting platforms like the US-India Strategic Partnership Forum. Indian Americans promote cultural diplomacy through festivals, art exchanges, and educational programs, with US Ambassador 𝗥𝗘𝗙𝗘𝗥𝗘𝗡 stating, "To know Indian Americans is to know America." Small community, outsized impact. Indian Americans, with only 1.5% of US population, generate 5% of Fortune 500 revenue, secure 11% of NIH grants, and hold key political, academic, and cultural positions. The challenge remains: will The diaspora wield this influence with cultural conviction and strategic clarity. Despite glowing metrics, real impact depends not just on presence but purpose. Without a political spine rooted in Bharat, much of this success risks being ornamental. This is an important point that's made in the concluding slide here. And many of us appear to be satisfied taking pictures with our local politicians and hanging them in our drawing rooms. Is that enough? I've been saying this again and again. Before you donate money, give them a list of 3 to-do items, give half upfront and half upon completion of what you requested. This will make them accountable. It will also get your purpose. So, for example, why can't you ask your local politician to support the cause of Hindus in Pakistan and Bangladesh, where they are being genocided? These people are innocent, poor people, and they have nothing to do with the politics of the country, yet they get taken out. The frustration of politicians always is taken out on the Hindus there. What did they do wrong? And this is just one of my pet peeves, because I'm seeing the same thing being repeated in other countries where there are sizable Indian slash Hindu populations. I've been talking to you about Malaysia. Fiji is another example. Guyana, Suriname, Trinidad and Tobago. All these countries are now starting to see unrest that never existed before. So the takeaway here is, while the Indian Americans have done a lot, they need to also start looking at who does serve their interests best. It could be a Republican, it could be a Democrat. In the 2024 elections, 26% voted Republican, the remaining staying with the Democrat. I hope the number comes closer to 50%. That way you know that people are discerning and that they value their vote and they make sure that their vote counts. Thanks for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to click on the bell button for notifications. Namaskar.